Ladies and gentlemen, we'd now like to invite you to the second session of the panel discussions with our speakers who provide you more information about ways to improve efficacy through innovation and attain sustainability goals through solar rooftop projects in Malaysia. Welcome the moderator of this panel, Muhammad Shariful Islam, Director of Renewable Energy from Veritas Engineering. And I would also like to invite Bo Hong Chong, Head of Business Development, Managing Director of Southeast Asia, Nefin Group, Jack Tan, Vice President Group Sales and Marketing, SolarVest Holdings Berhad, Zeph Lim, CEO of Verdant Solar, Ko Chuan Zhen, Group CEO and co-founder of Plus Energy, Engineers Pui Hee Chow, Group Managing Director of Samaden Group Berhad, and Ross Cole, founder and CEO of Sky Renewables. Over to you, Shariful. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Now we are starting talking about the rooftop solar project in the Malaysia. Now here actually present our expert in this area. So actually I am request to all to they are introduced by their own self. You can start.
Say hello. Who are you?
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Morning or maybe afternoon. I'm Zeph from Verdant Solar. We are the EPC based in PJ, and we have branches in Penang and Johor. So we focus in residential solar markets and also small CNI. Yep.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Ross Cool from Sky Renewables. We're a CNI developer in Southeast Asia. We've obviously got a team in Malaysia where we're pretty active, but also Singapore, Philippines, and Vietnam. So nice to be here.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chow from Samaden Group Berhad. Our group of companies are involving in the renewable energy projects, inclusive of solar energy, biomass energy, biogas energy, and mini hydro. So we are actively involvement as the EPCC as well as the project owners.
All right. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Cole from Plus Energy. So we are the energy provider as a role of a solar developer, as an owner, at the same time mainly as an EPC for this rooftop solar and also the large-scale solar as well as the residential markets. Right.
Hello. All right. Good morning, everyone. So I'm Borhong. I'm the managing director for Nefin in Southeast Asia. We are a green IPP providing renewable energy and services to our customers across Asia Pacific, covering Greater China and Southeast Asia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jack Hughes, the Vice President from SolarWest Holdings Berhad. We are the clean energy company which we involving in clean energy developments, investments, and also EPCC. And we are in 7 countries in Asia Pacific right now. Nice to meet you, guy.
Thank you to all. Actually, now we are starting the discussion on the solar rooftop project. Actually, this discussion we are trying to find one new roadmap for the solar rooftop project in the Malaysia. So here we are point out the few things. This one actually policy and some actually new innovative financial model, and some actually we are trying to find the new design for the rooftop project, how to become it the in the popular in the market. So my first question, have any new model for the financial? My first question with that there. Have any new model for the finance and how to this one become the more popular in the rooftop project, especially for residential area?
Okay, so in terms of financial, I believe if we compare to maybe 5 years or 10 years back, the adoption of solar actually improved a lot. One of it is definitely because of the financial assistance that given by banks. Like now, there's bank that given up to 10 years of loan financing. That with that, customer are able to actually has the positive cash flow within the first month itself. And there's also a lot of banks that are coming out with their 60 months of EPP, easy payment scheme with 0% interest. So it's very super attractive. Sometimes I also don't understand how banks are able to do that. The bank are actually telling us that they are actually giving subsidies on that particular area. So it's really a good situation to see. And definitely I do see that one of the things that maybe Plus are doing great previously, or maybe no, even now, right? They are rent-to-own model. So I guess maybe Fax can share more about that model.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Zeph, for throwing the ball to me. I do agree that this market, I think most of us here has been this industry for probably more than 10 years. That we see how solar really expensive and not affordable. Probably it's only for someone who are able to own it in a very luxurious amount and also a huge capex. So I think along the years. Definitely, I think in the industry player, we all come out a lot of different innovative idea. Yeah, so I would say right now to make solar really accessible, right? Actually, it's mainly for two sides. Yeah, the main side, it definitely is all from private side because I think the government incentive, in order to make it more sustainable, you have to make the scheme not really like FIT but net energy metering. This is something quite good over here. Let's say in Malaysia. So I think the key, right, is about private sector. So it will be banking, the financial facility side, and also the non-financial side, like the energy provider, like all of us here. So from the people like us who provide the financing, I think in the residential market, like what Zeph mentioned, Plus Energy, actually we did provide like the rent-to-own model. So basically it's for everyone, for them able to have every month saving, whatever energy that you save, actually you just pay as a so-called like the rental fee for the solar. So the commitment every month will be the same. So let's say on the 5 years, let's say there's a 5-year plan. So whatever you have to pay every month is the same. Your cash flow is the same. But the beauty of it is after you finish all your this so-called your rental model in the 5 years, then on 6 years onward, it will be your you will be able to enjoy a free energy. Yeah, able to enjoy a free energy for the rest of the year. So the key is about accessible. To make solar really accessible for everyone. On the cash flow, it will be something quite affordable. And then on the commercial side, it will be definitely like the PPA model, the zero capex model. I think everyone are quite familiar with that. And the private side, actually, the banking side doing right now pretty good because they are all, most of the bank right now in Malaysia, their main target is about ESG, it's about green financing. So I would say with the bank supportive, like a long time ago, probably in our FIT era, you were able to look into the interest rate like about 8%, which is very high. But right now, actually, you are able to get like 5% or even lower than 5% kind of the financing cost. It's even getting lower and lower, which is more affordable. So I would say this is good because all the industry, different players, they are playing around. So maybe on the capex model, zero capex model, I can pass to like Bo Hong to further to share about that. That's how I pass the ball to you.
Sure. I think on the zero capex model, so that's also the primary business that Nifin is in. Basically, it is that renewable energy has reached grid parity actually quite a few years ago, at least on the generation cost, where the cost of generation of renewable energy is already lower than the retail cost of electricity. So it makes sense for solar installations to be done, and under a zero capex model, a company like ourselves will provide the financing for the system and sell energy to the customer at an agreed PPA over the PPA life. And then Our business would be to ensure that our financing costs, whether it's on equity or on debt, where we have sufficiently sophisticated instruments to ensure that our cost of financing are cheap enough, that it makes sense for us as a business, and also makes sense for the consumer, that they are making a cost saving on the electricity when switching to renewable energy. The other part, which I think Cole has already covered, is also that at the end of the contract tenure, then the customer would get access to a system which is then handed over to them essentially for free, where they will then enjoy the free energy until the end of life of the system. And even though on paper, many studies can show that the system has a design life of, let's say, 25, 30 years, but at least on the solar panel end, there are many solar panels in the market, especially in the US, which has actually been running for like 40, 50 years, and it continues to run. And so in that sense, the solar panel's life actually can be extended significantly beyond what is on paper. Beyond this solar rooftop, then at least on our end, we are also expanding the coverage that we can provide to customers, including on energy storage, on energy audits, and we're even going to real estate business now to provide green building solutions for our customers. So the expansion of the kind of solutions that clean energy companies can provide to customers is also another area where we enable the business to grow faster while enabling the customer to get access to greater carbon reduction solutions and making things accessible at the same time.
I think few of the industry captain already share a lot, which maybe I thought about a little bit, which SolarWaste, the clean energy companies, we work with a lot of like company, government, big corporations, SME, which we found out an issue for them that they don't know which, now in the past, compared with past 10 years is different. We have different kind of offering from banks. They're giving low green bond, they're giving green financing. We have different people can giving PPA leasing. So, but we found that the adoption may be a bit slow because they don't know how to pick the right models and what's most suitable for them. That's why SolarWaste launched a platform, we call it PowerWest. This is the AI platforms that we help them to analyze their credit scoring and suggest what is the suitable package for them. Did they go suitable go for capex? Did they suitable go for leasing? And even they go with capital investment, which they can enjoy tax saving. We also work with bank. All of the investment which they go in, they can 100% financing, which is, for example, they're getting 7 to 90% bank financing from the banks, and we are offering another 10 to 30%, which let them to finance 100%, so they can immediately enjoy the saving after installations. And some of people said this is not their original business. They don't want to own the asset. So we also have power lease, which is something like PPA solutions, which is like just now what Bo Hong said, which they can just enjoy the cheapest tariff that hedge against their electricity price. So in near future, they can forecast what is their generation cost for their cost of product much more easier. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks. Okay, now another thing, we are facing some cases need to change the policy and the business regulation. And dear panel, we are feeling this need to change any policy for the rooftop project, need to change any policy or the and how to this one will be the encourage the more popular in this market. We feel need to change any policy.
Thank you. So on the policy side, I guess the key one that I would love to see is that for C&I, so for rooftop solar for commercial clients, is net energy metering is just the default. You haven't got to apply for it. At the moment, you have to apply each time to get the permission to sell your power to the grid. It's also in certain instances capped, and it would be great just for that to no longer be an issue. So anyone can do that, which means that if you're generating power at the weekends and you don't need it, that can go to the grid, you can get paid for it. So that would be a great policy from my perspective. The second one is more of the CGPP. For many of us in the room, this is the off-site generation. So you build a plant somewhere else and you can sell the power to a client in a different location. I think that the take up to that program has been immense. The 900 megawatt AC of allocation will have gone, I think, if it hasn't gone already, it'll be gone pretty soon. There's a big demand there, so we'd love to see more of that taking place. And I think on the previous point around the innovative financing, look, candidly, you got CapEx, you got a PPA, and you got leasing, right? Those are kind of it. To be more innovative, we need a bit more, we need more variables to play with. So I think when the renewable energy certificates, these are the RECs, when that becomes more sophisticated, that will be another way that you can start to be quite clever with your financing. So in other parts of the world, you see people pre-selling the RECs that their system will generate to a big corporate. They get those up front, and that reduces the cost of their investment at the start. So if it costs you ringgit 1 million to put it on your house or on your building, and you can sell all of those future certificates to a big off-taker and get some money up front, that reduces your upfront investment to do so. So I think as the industry gets more mature and as more policies get in place, you can be a bit more creative and clever in how you finance it. So actually, I think the two questions are linked. The regulations and the innovation kind of come together because it allows you to be a bit more sophisticated.
Today's topic is about the rooftop solar installations. So we talk about policy. So for rooftop solar, we're talking about residentials, and we always get C&I is a commercial and industrial. So we're talking about the residentials. So what are the so-called the limitation on residentials? So residentials, just now we're talking about the financing. The most barrier is financing for the residential. So now there is a lot of package in the market already, supported by the banks, supported by the peers that are coming to the markets to give all this offer to the residentials for them to actually basically to put up the solar in their rooftop in line with their targets of meeting the reduction of their bills and also in line with the directions of reducing the carbon emissions. But there is a limitations under the policy for the residential. The maximum they can install up to only 12 kilowatt. Yes. So a lot of big houses, there is a lot of bungalows that actually their consumption is much more than that. So that's why they actually, for them, I only install this 12 kilowatt. It's nothing for them. The saving is not significant for them. So that's why it should be looked into it on the so-called the regulation-wise for the residential, whether they can actually put higher limitation on the installations. So talk about the sectors of the C&I sectors. C&I sectors that there is even more limitation that the people facing. We don't talk about the financing, because financing actually there is a lot of solutions that everybody can provide. Bank can provide, our peers here also can provide zero capex, PPA, and also a hybrid model that is able to provide. But the issues now also come back on the limitations. It's not only in Malaysia, actually over other countries as well. Each of that, they got limitations that, okay, that the 100% of their maximum demand they can install only. So that is also one of the things that actually have limited the installations of capacity of the solar installation. But this thing is coming from the perspective of why they need to limit. So the limit is for what purpose? Is it impact to the grid? That is actually that we need to look at the holistic way whether that this limitation, whether impact to the grid. So if we really that don't have to inject it to the grid, or the energy that generated is always can self-consume within their so-called productions. So this self-consumption, then they shouldn't to have any limit anymore as long as you don't have any injections to the grid. So they impose the requirements of the zero export. They already imposed. It means that there is no so-called the export to the grid. Then talking about another limitation that is doing that, you need to put SCADA, you need to put the CLR, the current limited reactors, because of the high fault. So that is also an issue. So if there is no injection to the grid, why we need to put additional equipment to control the fault levels. So that is another issue that this policy or regulations should look into it. Well, because this is the issue that limited the solar rooftop installations. If all these issues have been mitigated or we have come to the middle requirements, then we will have more installation in the rooftop. You can see more happening in Malaysia.
Yeah, I would like to anchor with two of the industry experts on this. I think, first of all, I think on the I think the policy right now is, let's say we are able to have a holistic kind of the policy view, which is something very good, like from extension from solar rooftop to like CGPP, is all in order to resolve the corporate carbon emission, because corporate carbon emission is something not really in our P&L in the past, but because right now, due to the ESG situations and also the guidance, so the CO2 actually is a cost for all the business, so they actually didn't bring a lot of awareness. And second, by Pui, she mentioned about this on the limitation on the capacity. Yeah, this is always what we are suffering. And I think the other one, which is all the industrial player, or let's say our end users suffering, I would say is about the process. So right now, in order to get the system, in order to get the capacity, we still have a lengthy process like residential, a lot of different documents that we have to submit. Let's say on the commercial industrial side, we have a lot of documents that we have to submit. I would say along the process, along the years, it would be great if, let's say, the policymaker, they will be able to make this process, simplify the process. That's the key. That's the key mover. Or else this process, actually, it will make the whole system is not that efficient. So the efficiency, that what we mentioned here is something just beyond the technology itself. Technology is solar, it will be battery storage, but the policy usually sometimes it should be enabler. So as an enabler, it should give us a much simpler process. Just for example, like in Australia, let's say for the residential houses, you can just install, then you can just go in and just get a license. Not really, you have to get the license, then you have to install, then you have to get another approval again. So it's quite lengthy over here. So this is one of my view, about, I would say, it's about a key process, which the rest I will pass to others players to talk about.
Maybe I'll talk a bit about the process side. I think also Ross has covered on some of that, is that as I've seen in some of the other markets, like in China, like in Singapore, for example, that there are projects within a certain framework, but which covers the majority of projects. If projects which are simple and pretty standard can be done on a registration basis instead of approval basis, this will allow the developers and EPCC to have greater certainty over the feasibility, the approval of the project, and also be able to control the schedule of the project better, therefore reducing overall costs, whether it's on the supply chain costs or internal operational costs. So in terms of improving process, simply changing from approval basis, like a quota approval basis, to a registration basis would change things and improve things significantly.
I think all the industry leaders have mentioned a lot of different kind of regulation and suggestions, which maybe I thought of a little bit as through the NETR roadmaps that Malaysia has set a good target that we want to achieve 70% of renewable energy target at 2050. Especially for rooftop, we have plenty of rooftop about this, like just now Charles about residentials, commercial, industrial. Let's talk about residentials. I think that the first mover for that is any benefits for the developer itself. If they build for a solar-ready home, solar EV home, come with smart solution. Because right now, our policy, just now like they say, the process, you have to have a TMB meter on it. You only can apply the quota. We have limited quota on that. Then some of the developer, they might concerns on that time, after a few years, the quota has finished. If they already give a promise to their buyer, what can move next? So for residential side, I think the first movers is they're giving some incentive or agreements that the people who build for solar-ready home, they can enjoy this kind of benefits, which they still can enjoy net metering. For the commercial industrial sites that we have two things about this. First thing is about the load issue, which is if we're going big and big about energy, clean energies, which we have any export right now, we're still using self-coal. So if the best idea is that if any excess of energy, like you refer back from some of the policy from Asia Pacific, like maybe Philippines or some of the country, like even Taiwan, even you can export the energy, which is they have like P2P markets to allow use that even Singapore, you can install maximum capacity of it, but at the same time you can sell back the electricity to your targeted client and partner. That's the ideas. But we will face intermittency load issue. That's why battery policy and the frameworks have to become in to support it.
Okay, thank you. Do you think in the recent future we have to revise the tariff cost? Our tariff is now okay. Now the current tariff is the suitable for the consumer.
Maybe I start about this as I think that's a very good question. I foresee that as a business, two things that we have to be controlled. First thing is about the cost of labels. We keep increasing that thing is something as a business you have to control. If you mention on the rooftop itself, the business owner had to control it. Second, it's about the electricity cost. Because if we're using coal, gas, about this, they have up and down about cost itself. But clean energy could help you to overcome this, because clean energy, you need to set certain as the future energy price, which is, although right now our cost is not so expensive, I think that right now our tariff is reasonable. But if we have more and more RE tariff on it, I think the near futures, it can help us on the tariff itself as well.
I think this is quite a broader question. Malaysia is a manufacturing hub, so like Jack has covered, cost of labor and cost of energy are very important to the competitiveness of the country as a manufacturing hub. I think while recent increases of the tariff in the past 1 year is reflective of increases in the cost of fuel, the important thing is also allowing the visibility and transparency of the cost of energy in the country. So a lot of the complaints from some of our customers is not just that the energy is expensive, but that how can the government allow like a 50%, more than 50% increase in the energy cost in one announcement, right? Those are where the problems lie. So having a long-term view and transparency into the energy cost structure, allowing multiple options for C&I consumers especially to source their energy would make it transparent and allow them to have certain control over the cost of energy. So for me, that would be the direction for the cost of energy.
When we touch about this topic, about the cost of energy, it will all back to the sustainability. So we all know Malaysia, we are enjoying one of the cheapest energy tariff rate in the world. Know about, right? If you look at your TNB bill at your home, you're able to find out. I think just recently, they have one of reminder to remind you that actually without the government subsidies, what is your actual cost? So this is a sign, this is a hint as well. So definitely, in order to make a sustainable movement, not just about installing solar, but also back to the policy and also back to energy cost, the subsidies have to remove. And the subsidies of the energy in this country or whichever country have to gradually remove in a strategic way. And the whole transitions you need solar energy in. So this is what happened in China. For example, like their traditional coal energy right now, from some data which I saw, is about like 60 cents per renminbi per kilowatt hour. So with their solar, they are able to go with like about 28 cents, which is much lower. And right now, in order to get a grid stability, actually you need battery storage. So it will be another 30 cents more. So in total, that's quite similar as your traditional energy tariff rate with your solar plus battery tariff rate. So this is what happened in most of the country out there, not really in this region, who the energy price actually is much higher. So I think Malaysia right now, definitely it will go through the similar path. Definitely right now, solar we already know is almost grid parity. And the next, definitely you will also have to consider on the battery storage. Yeah. So with this solar plus battery storage as a benchmark, to achieve the grid parity, from my point of view, this will be a more sustainable way for us to move forward in this energy tariff adjustment from time to time. Yeah.
Talking about the electricity cost and our tariff, I agree with Cole. Actually, Malaysia's tariff is actually among the lowest in the regions. So, and even though with this low tariff, the model of rooftop solar they're doing now, while the net energy metering is actually the return of investment actually is very attractive. Particular on the CNI, because that is supported by our MIDA investment, green investment tax allowance. So, but this low tariff of currently Malaysia having now is actually will not be continuous low. And actually this also mentioned about the subsidies. Actually our electricity cost has been subsidized by the government. And it's just a matter of how long this subsidy will be continue. So once all these subsidies been removed, then you can see the actual electricity cost. Then you can reflect that while you're doing the rooftop solar in your facility, actually your return on investment even better. So, but the issue of the solar installation now is the sound I'm talking about is the intermittency. Solar energy, it cannot replace totally the grid. So that's why that despite you put it in your residential, daytime, you are not at home. You are not consuming the electricity. Only night time, you go home, you turn on your aircon, then you are consuming during night. So for residentials, actually, we still need the program of net energy metering in order for us to put it up the solar installation. But versus to other countries that they actually don't have net energy metering scheme. But they are doing very, very well on this energy storage, particularly in residential. Why is this happen? Because their actual electricity cost is very expensive. And they need to store the energy generated in the daytime in their energy storage so that they can consume it at night time. So that's why you can see that why other countries that battery, because today's topic is talking about energy storage, other countries the energy storage is actually is booming or doing well, but why it's not in Malaysia now? Because it's also related to our tariff. Just to highlight that our net energy metering for residential is actually, there is a quota limit. Once it's utilized already, possible they will not continue, then it all go to a self-consumption model in which the time that this battery energy storage will be needed. And when there is no more so-called subsidized, your real electricity cost will be reflected out in your tariff.
Thanks. So NEM allocation needs to go, basically, and anyone can do it. Yeah, I mean it's been, I guess, in terms of the tariff. Look, the subsidies are the key issue, right? Because so we in this room, if you work in the solar industry, from a very selfish perspective, you want the subsidy to go away because then the power is more expensive and our product is more attractive, right? So, you know, that's kind of the truth. But of course, if you're a politician or if you're the government, it's very hard to make the country's power more expensive. But likewise, they want to push renewables, and to push renewables, it becomes easier to push if the tariff is more expensive. So it's a difficult dynamic, right? And I think that I'm not sure what the solution is. If I knew that, I wouldn't be sitting here, I'd be doing something else. But ultimately, absolutely, as the subsidy is reduced, that's good for the government's coffers, and it's good to spur renewables. But clearly, it can't happen overnight. It's going to be a gradual process. But absolutely, the attractiveness of solar and other renewable resources will get better as that subsidy is removed and as the grid approaches the true cost of production as it currently stands. But again, to your point around NEM, all of these things need to happen in tandem. And sure, if it was to happen overnight, there would be a huge change, but there would also be a huge number of negative consequences to that as well. You know, we can't replace everyone's power with renewables. We can't do it overnight. And as a result, people would experience, whether that's retail customers or businesses or everyone in this room, your bill would suddenly go up a great deal, and that's a bad thing. But hopefully, over time, with policy changes, removal of subsidies, there will be a big boom and a big push for renewables, which is good for the overall carbon agenda and the country's, targets. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Rose says. I think when it comes to solar per se, definitely you want to see the one situation where we are able to get grid parity, which is the cost of generating our own energy, via solar or other renewable energy, is equal or less than the cost that we buy from the grid, which is mostly from us will be TNB, right? And in order to do that, there are definitely two things that must happen. First would be the cost of the, it could be three ways, right? First would be the cost of the module reduce significantly, that we are able to do that. The second would be the tariff increase significantly, that we are able to do that, or both, which is the best option that we could see, right? Maybe some example of the tariff hike. Government just increased the tariff for residential for those consume more than 1,005 kilowatt hour, which is about 700 ringgit last times. Now their bill will become about 875 ringgit, which is about 25% increase during June. And what we see in terms of the take-up rate for residential solar, easily almost doubled during this period of times. Like this year alone, now we are just about 9 months past. The total application that we see from SEDA website is about 60 megawatt. Compared to last year, the whole year is 38 megawatts. So 9 months alone, we are already 157% more than what we have last year. And if compared to 2021, it's 24 megawatt compared to 60 megawatt, I think easily 260% up. So that is the effect of maybe just a tariff hike that actually just affected about 85,000 of consumer, or 1% of it. But the take-up rate of solar is significant. Like I do foresee we are going to double the installation rate for this year, just based on the tariff. And definitely we would like to see more such thing happens. And in order to get the grid parity, definitely we need to make sure the cost of battery is high, is low enough that we are able to do that. Because as a residential home, we can't, most of the time we are not at home during the peak of generation, which is daytime, right? We will consume most of it will be during the nighttime. And the only thing that must be in the equation is that we need to have battery by ourselves. And at the moment, the cost of installing the battery system easily more than 10 years. So this kind of payback is very hard to encourage consumer in Malaysia market to install battery system. And I do believe that if we are able to bring it to be somewhere about 7 years of payback, then maybe we are able to have that. So in order to have that, I will definitely want to bring back to the policy. I do believe in order to increase the adoption of BESS, battery energy storage system, especially for the residential part, we need to have some tariff or maybe some tax incentive for those that installed BESS in order to kickstart this. Because if without FIT at the very beginning in 2011 or 2012, I don't think we are able to be here today as a solar industry. And I think government need to really look into that. And the second one is also regarding about NEM. I would definitely like to see our government are actually able to come out with the policy earlier. Like the previous cycle, which is 2020, government only announced the new NEM policy almost, I think, 29th of December, which is 2 days before the quota ended. And there's a gap. The residential, we can only apply on February. Commercial, we can only apply on April. There's a gap of 2 to 3 months. And actually, it actually hurts the industry because at the moment, we don't know whether should we continue to expand or not. Because what if there's a delay and all that thing, then how are we going to cover our overhead and all those things? But if we have that clarity, it's easier for the industry to plan and to execute. That would be one of the part that we definitely want the government to look into the policy part. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Actually, what do they face the difficulties and challenge for the implement any solar rooftop project can you address your challenge and how do you overcome this problem? Have any innovative idea or any solution, any challenge? How do you overcome? Also, you can share your experience, your successful study, and anything can you tell? Any successful story?
So it's the challenges in terms of adoption, is it? Okay.
Challenge.
Execution, okay,
Yeah.
can. I think one of the biggest execution that we have now is definitely because of the demand of the industry actually getting higher. And in terms of the talent that we are trying to recruit, limited, right? So that will be one of the challenges that we have at the moment. And the second part will be in terms of the installation team. Everyone are looking for a good installer, and definitely when the market is growing fast, that will be also one of the things that we are facing at the moment. And the third one I would say in terms of challenge is when it comes to execution part would be when the industry changes fast, like one of the examples that we have would be like recently, government actually allowed the limitation of solar system for residential increase from 4 kilowatt to 5 kilowatt. And for three-phase, would be from 10 kilowatt to 12.5 kilowatt. And it actually created some challenge to us because if we are allowed from 4 to 8, maybe it makes sense because our customer are willing to pay another 4 kilowatt inverters. But now 4 to 5 means that those that already installed 4 kilowatt, they can only buy for 1 kilowatt inverter, which would be costly. And it also not so makes sense for those that three-phase, like 10 kilowatt, suddenly become 12.5 kilowatt because 10 kilowatt is three-phase inverter. And we can't find a 2.5 kilowatt three-phase inverter to match. And it causes some disruption because customer will think that we are trying to cheat them, we don't want to do a small system and all those things. But it's some technical challenges that we will facing because of this. So definitely we would like to also to see more policy that will actually also address the challenges that the industry will face before we are able to come up with a more holistic kind of policy that will benefit all the parties. Yeah.
I get from the execution side for what we do on the kind of commercial, the C&I world. I think making sure that all of the health and safety aspects are respected because it's a lot of projects, a lot of locations, different partners, different subcontractors, and people are working at height. There's fire risk if the system isn't built right, all these things. And as you know, a director that has a fiduciary as well as ethical liability, you want to make sure that's done well. That what I would say is my kind of key concern and challenge on that side. But without being repetitive, I think when it comes to doing a project, our bigger challenge has often been on the paperwork, which was mentioned a moment ago. You know, getting the right, we have a couple of examples where we've built a project, it's been finished, it's all good, but we're still waiting for certain approvals. Now that, from my perspective, means that I've financed a project, I've paid for a project, it's sitting there not operating and earning no revenue, and it's just a few bits of paper that are missing. Now, of course, we could have got that right first time round, and there were some mistakes made, don't get me wrong, but to the point that was mentioned earlier about maybe the policy aspects, ensuring that it's the easiest number of steps required, the easiest amount of paperwork required to turn the system on and to start invoicing, I think that's actually a bigger challenge from our perspective, because we work with great EPC partners, many of whom are here. So that doesn't concern me too much, as long as it's the right partner with the right expertise, the right approach to safety. But from our perspective as a developer, actually it's more the paperwork side and getting that right and making sure that we limit the time from signing a contract to invoicing the client. That's a big area that we're trying to improve, I think, for us.
Thank you.
Talking about challenges of implementations of rooftop solar projects, I think that you want to talk, I think you talk about a few hours or so, cannot finish. I just take a bit of highlight certain main challenges that as a perspective of the outright purchase owners as well as the EPC perspective. First thing is the first challenge, paperwork. For commercial and industrial, for sure that you wanted to apply the Green Investment Tax Allowance, GITA. So you apply GITA, actually you need to have an acknowledgement for MIDA before you can start the first invoicing to your customer. So this kind of processes take long time. So if you are not able to invoice, then actually as for the contractors, then your work cannot be started. So that is also a main challenges that actually is delaying the commencement of work. And talking about just now mentioning about start to invoicing a customer perspective of the asset owners, that is also your project completed already, only you can apply the generation license. The general license that all the players are here that deal with this before, they understand how long the process need to wait. If you are lucky, 3 months, can up to 6 months. So my solar installations really installed there, sitting for 6 months, 3 to 6 months there, cannot generate. That is also a big challenges for, particular on the money already 100% incur. So that is the so-called the commercial-wise challenge. And actually, we're doing quite a lot of commercial industrial, and we did quite a numbers of larger scale installation in the rooftop. Another main challenges is actually to connect to the interconnections. We are not talking about the large scale solar in which we need to connect to the grid. That processes also take long time. That we need to comply to the requirements, FAT, and then to need to take the shutdown date. But even for commercial and industrial, also is it the same issue also, because that we are dealing with the factories that are running of 24/7. They are running productions. So they cannot simply shut down for you to interconnect to their facility. Probably they only 1 year, they only 1-2 times shutdown or maintenance, you only can interconnect. So that is a thing that is actually the coordination with the factories or the user are also very important. So that's why that in order for us to boost more solar rooftop installation on grid or generations, all these challenges actually we need time to handle, and also we need experience and coordination, collaboration with respective party to meet the targets of completions.
Okay, thank you. Actually, our discussion time is very short. So actually, our many things we are actually facing in our life. Actually, if we discuss many things, cannot finish it.
Yeah, we have so much to share. Unfortunately, we have to squeeze everything in a day. So can we get a group photo for the panelists first?
Okay, thank
and
you.
And a video as well, yeah. Sorry that we have to wrap this up, but now that you know our panelists, you can approach them and have a chit-chat later during the break, all right? Okay, one for the camera, a big smile on the face. And a thumbs up maybe for the video. Okay, a big round of applause. Thank you so much to our moderator and also panelists for our second session.